Hi everyone, so we're going to go into the virtual music room on Smart School and we're going to learn about sound at smart level. So when we go into the room, the lesson 1 sound is on the board, click on that. And we're going to learn about the basic things about sound. So 4 different things that you can make vibrate to get a sound. A string or a chordophone, a solid object, they're called idiophones, air in a pipe are called aerophones, skins or membranophones. So strings could be guitars, violins, a harp, even a piano. Piano's got strings inside it. Solid objects could be things like wood blocks or chime bars, xylophones, cymbal. Air in pipes could be a flute, a recorder, a clarinet. It could be a pipe organ. Skins are going to be all sorts of drums from all sorts of places in the world, where you get something thin and flat that's stretched over a frame to make a nice vibration when you hit it. Okay, so these are not very common words, so you might want to say them just to get used to them. Chordophones, idiophones, aerophones, membranophones. And then we've got some things to have a look at. First of all, can you think of anything that vibrates to make a sound that you can't fit into those 4 things? You can keep thinking about that. So, what vibrates on a guitar? Air or strings? I think we all know guitars have strings on them, so let's try that. Well done. Click to hear. What vibrates when a trumpet is blown? Air or strings? Well, if you're blowing it, you're probably blowing air into it. Well done. Now, I'd really like you to try and remember some of these things, because at the end of this lesson we're going to do a little quiz. What vibrates when a cymbal is hit? No strings on a cymbal. It's quite a solid object. Click to hear crash, or click in the middle to hear the bell sound. And then finally, what vibrates when a drum is hit? A skin. Well done. So the strings are the chordophones, air in a pipe, that's like a folded up long tube or pipe, aerophones. Solid objects, that's not hollow, it's just got it's a solid piece of metal, idiophone. Skins, there's the skin around the edge, around the top, stretched tightly over the frame. Those are membranophones. Fact number 2, sounds can be nasty or nice. Sounds that are notes and sounds that are noises. You could sing this note, but I'd like to hear you try singing this one. Fact number 3. So, sounds can be pitched. Pitch in music is to do with high or low sounds. Slow vibrations make lower pitches. So if you've got a string that's thicker or not as tight, it'll vibrate slower. That'll give you a low pitch. And look at this wave form, it's just like a nice wobble up and down. Imagine that line through the middle is the string. It's going to go backwards and forwards, up and down that path. Let's hear it. So that's quite a low sound. A high pitch, you've got the same smooth pattern in the wave, but they're closer together, so they're faster. That gives us the high pitch. If we go back to this one, they're more spread out, so they're slower and lower. Faster, a faster wobble if that was a string, and higher. Sounds can be long or short. So this is the musical symbol with the treble clef on a stave. You can learn more about that later on. But there's the note there, and it's a white note with no stems or tails or anything, just a white note, and that is going to be a long sound. So is this the short sound? I don't think so. If I click that again and hold the mouse down, it will probably show you the waveform. So this one is a little filled in note with a stem and a tail. Because I've learnt what that means, I know that is a short sound. You can see the waveform gets cut off quite quickly, so it doesn't carry on vibrating or wobbling. Music is, what is music? We can have different sounds put together at different pitches to make melodies, and I've put a little melody on here that you might recognise. If I start here and I go from one note at a time, and there we have a nice little pattern. So if you had 4 bells, maybe in a church, then you could play that tune just using 4 bells by playing them in a different order. Imagine how many tunes you could make up if you had 8 bells or even 12 bells, which is about the most you'd ever get in a big church. Okay, so now we can do the quiz. I'm going to do the online version. You can do this on the screen, and that will tell us what the answers are as well as we go along. So here we have the Smart Sound quiz, and there are 10 questions, so you could write down numbers 1 to 10 on a piece of paper, and you could, or in a notebook, and you could just put A, B, C or D for each, whichever one you think is the right answer. That would probably be the quickest way to do this. You can pause, or your teacher can pause the video so that you can have a bit of time to write your answers down before I give you the answer. Or you could talk about them or ask questions. Let's see. So question 1. A chordophone uses vibrating air, strings, solid objects or thin stretched skin. So which one of those you think it is? So if you think it's air on a chordophone, then write down A. If you think it's strings, write down B. C for solid objects, or D if you think it's a thin stretched skin. Okay. Second question, an aerophone uses vibrating air, that's A, strings, B, solid objects, C, or a thin stretched skin, D. Question number 3. This instrument, which is a cymbal that starts with a C, what's that going to be? A, if you think it's an aerophone. B, if you think it's a chordophone. C, if you think it's a membranophone. Or D, if you think it's an idiophone. Question number 4. The bongos. This instrument is A, an aerophone. B, if you think it's a chordophone. C, if you think it's a membranophone. Or D, an idiophone. Number 5, that's a bass guitar. If you think it's an aerophone, it's A. If you think it's a chordophone, write down B. If you think it's a membranophone, C. Or an idiophone is D. Question 6, the trumpet. Blow into that to play it, to make a sound. So is it an aerophone? Write down A. A chordophone, B. A membranophone, C. Or an idiophone, D. So question 7. Musical sounds have simple wave patterns or waves with no patterns to them. So what that means is, if the sound is like a musical sound that you could sing, then is the wave pattern nice and smooth and simple, or is it no pattern? In other words, a bit of a mess. So one of those is going to be a nice sound and one's going to be a nasty old noise. Which one do you think it is? Question 8. It's a picture of a sound, a wave picture. Remember, the string could be the blue line going across through the middle, and this could be the pattern of the vibration, string going backwards and forwards. So does this sound show, does this wave show A, a long sound, B, a short sound, or C, a noise? Question 9. This pattern, could it be a long sound, a short sound, or a noise? A, B, or C? And the last question, question 10, you've got this waveform, which is going all over the place. Not much of a pattern to it. And could that be A, a long sound, B, a short sound, or C, a noise? Okay, I'm going to go through them again, and I'm going to hopefully click on all the right answers. So a chordophone, if you think of chord, it's like a string. I'm going to go for B. Well done. My score is 100%, and so is yours if you got that one right. An aerophone. Aerophone is like aeroplane, flies through the air. So I'm going to try air. Well done. And my score and yours hopefully is still 100%. Well done. So this symbol is just a solid bit of metal, and therefore it is an idiophone, solid object. Well done. Question number 4. This instrument has got a thin stretched skin on the top, and it's called a membranophone. my bass guitar has strings on it. So we're back to chordophones again. That's B. So the trumpet you blow into and you blow air into it. So it's an aerophone. Musical sounds have, so if the sound is nice and musical and it's a nice sound that you could sing or hum, it's going to have a nice simple pattern to it. If it was no pattern, a messy old wave, it would be a bit of a noise. So I think it's A. And if you got that, you're right as well. And then number 8, this wave now, it's not a noise because it's nice and even, smooth pattern. And it goes on for the whole time, so I think it's a long sound. Yay! And nearly the last question, number 9. This one's cut off quite quickly, so I think it's a short sound. B. Yes. And then, am I going to get 10 out of 10? That's a messy old wave pattern. I think it's going to be the nasty old noise. C. Yes. So, if you got all of those right, you've got 100% too. Well done. Hope you enjoyed that and learnt a lot. And we'll move on to the next topic next time, which is elements. Thank you for learning.